So if you've done any research on what it's like to live in the city of Portsmouth, Virginia, I imagine you've seen some of that negative press the city gets. However, I'm not sure it's all warranted, as the city itself definitely has a bad reputation around Hampton Roads. There are some cons to living in the city of Portsmouth, Virginia. However, there are some pros as well. And that's exactly what we're going to discuss in this video as we review the pros and the cons of living in Portsmouth, Virginia. And let's go ahead and get started on the video right now. So I imagine over the last couple years, your wallet or your pocketbook has definitely been impacted by the increase of prices. We've seen prices rise on practically everything. The prices of housing has definitely not been immune to that, especially here in Hampton Roads. But one of the first pros I would say of living in the city of Portsmouth, Virginia is just the fact that the prices of housing are not near as expensive as they are in some of the other cities in Hampton Roads. What we're gonna do here, I'm gonna show you some housing stats from our local MLS, the Real Estate Information Network, to show you the median sales price of some of the cities in Hampton Roads, and you'll see where Portsmouth stacks up. So taking a look here, for the south side, the median sales price in Q2 was $340,000. That line you see at the very bottom there, that is Portsmouth at $248,000. Right above that would be Norfolk at $300,000. And then looking at the top three, you have Suffolk, $360,000. Then Virginia Beach at $371,000, and topping them all at Q2 would be Chesapeake at $375,000. I will tell you all three of these kind of flip spots back and forth depending on what quarter it is. Bottom line, prices of housing are going up everywhere. Portsmouth's not immune to that, but after seeing this chart, you can clearly see living in the city of Portsmouth, Virginia is definitely cheaper than some of the other cities in Hampton Roads. And if you're thinking about making that move and you have any questions on the schools or any of the areas, that's exactly what my team and I specializes in here in Hampton Roads, as we are a team of realtors. I'm gonna put my information right next to me here. If you have any questions, please reach out. Love to help you. So moving into our first con of living in the city of Portsmouth, Virginia, this is gonna be really important if you have children, and that would just be the overall school rankings in the city of Portsmouth, Virginia, especially compared to some of the other cities throughout Hampton Roads. What I'm gonna do here, I'm gonna show you two websites. First being niche.com. If you've seen any of my other videos, you know I like using this website. Shows school rankings as well as other information about the cities. And then secondly, we're gonna take a look at another school ranking website. It's called schooldigger.com to take a look at how Portsmouth stacks up against some of the other cities in Hampton Roads. But looking first at niche.com, it gave Portsmouth, Virginia overall school system a grade of a C+. How does that compare to some of the other cities in Hampton Roads? Glad you asked. The city of Virginia Beach was given an A, Chesapeake was given an A-, Suffolk was given an A B-, and then Norfolk matched Portsmouth with a C+. But then looking at schooldigger.com, quite honestly, it is a little lower. When you look at their rankings, they don't base it on a grading scale. Instead, they base it on a star ranking, 1 stars to 5 stars, but they also rank the district in a number system. So it gave Portsmouth a 1 star out of a potential 5 stars, which is pretty poor compared to some of the other cities in Hampton Roads. But then when you look at the 131 school districts in the state of Virginia, Portsmouth, according to School Digger, was ranked 116th out of 131. So as I mentioned, this is really important if you have children, but it's just as important if you don't have children, because you want to make sure you're in an area when you buy a house that other people are going to want to buy it when it's your time to sell. So the school systems are really something you need to think of, whether you have children or not. So one thing about Hampton Roads, regardless of what city you are actually in, most likely throughout the day, you are going to deal with some type of traffic, especially during rush hour, during the morning and the afternoon. However, one pro I would say about living in the city of Portsmouth, Virginia is just the central location to all the other cities in Hampton Roads. To give you an idea, let's take a look at a map here, and I'm going to show you some of the major places people like to go throughout Hampton Roads, whether working or playing. And when you look at Portsmouth right here, kind of in the center of Hampton Roads, the one place everybody loves going would be the oceanfront. And if you're living in the city of Portsmouth, Virginia, it's going to take you about 25 minutes to get to the oceanfront, not factoring in traffic. If you need to travel outside of the area and you need to go to the airport, you're looking at about 20 minutes to the Norfolk International Airport. And if you're serving in the military, some of the major bases around here, Norfolk Naval is about 20 minutes from Portsmouth. Little Creek in Virginia Beach is about 20 minutes. The other base in Virginia Beach would be NAS Oceana, and that's about 25 minutes. Then if you happen to work on the other side of the water, maybe you're stationed at Langley Air Force Base, that's about 30 minutes. Fort Eustis is about 35 to 40 minutes from Portsmouth. So when you're looking at the other cities in Hampton Roads, one of the benefits of Portsmouth is just the fact that it is centrally located compared to some of the other cities in Hampton Roads. After viewing a few of the pros and cons, I hope you realize not everything is bad about the city of Portsmouth, Virginia, but I also hope you are getting some value out of this video. If you are, please make sure you hit that like button below, and also consider hitting that subscribe button below as well, as this is the type of content we publish every week. Also, I am a realtor. My information's down in the description below. If you have any questions about housing or any way my team and I can help you, we'd love to hear from you. And let's go ahead and get into my second con of living in Portsmouth, Virginia. So coming out of the pandemic, and especially during the pandemic, one thing outside of cost that we kind of really saw rise across the country would be the overall crime rate. Unfortunately, Portsmouth definitely was not immune to that. So my number two con of living in Portsmouth, Virginia would just be the overall crime rate when you compare it to some of the other cities in Hampton Roads. And before I show you some information on that, if you're curious about some of the other cities in Hampton Roads, take a look at the video I did here on some of the other pros and cons of surrounding cities. But what we're gonna do here, when you're looking at crime rate, I'm gonna use another website, a different website that we've already discussed. That would be Neighborhood Scout. It gives an overall crime index for cities based on a scale of 1 to 100. What I will say before we talk about Portsmouth is, quite honestly, I don't necessarily agree with some of these scores, as if you look at all the cities throughout Hampton Roads, most of them were actually given lower than average scores. The city of Portsmouth, Virginia, unfortunately, was given a 3 out of 100. So what that means is about 97% of the cities throughout the nation are safer than Portsmouth, Virginia. To give you an idea of what some of the other cities in Hampton Roads were given, Virginia Beach was given a 29. The city of Norfolk was given a 4, so not much better than Portsmouth. The city of Chesapeake, Virginia was given a 20, and the city of Suffolk, Virginia was given an 18. On this index, I do feel these scores, not only for Portsmouth, but other cities in Hampton Roads, are pretty low compared to what I personally might think they would be. But I just want to use this website because you're not taking my opinion for it. And as you'll see, Portsmouth just doesn't stack up compared to some of the other cities in Hampton Roads when it comes to overall crime rate. So my number 3 pro of living in the city of Portsmouth, Virginia can be a pro for any city in Hampton Roads, as that might be one of the reasons why you might be moving to our area, and that would be the overall weather in the city of Portsmouth, Virginia. One thing I will say about Portsmouth and Hampton Roads is during the summertime, it definitely can get extremely hot and quite muggy. Looking at this chart here from weatherspark.com, you can see from the months of May through September, it does get pretty warm and it does get very muggy, especially in July and August. And I can tell you, overall, the weather is great here in Hampton Roads. You're really going to enjoy the amount of sun you get to have. And then in the winter months, we really don't get snow very often. We do have some chilly days, but not much snow, so that's another plus if you don't like dealing with snow. The only negative I would say about the weather is during hurricane season. That's always something you got to pay attention to. However, hurricanes don't impact us very often. The weather would just be a huge pro for me, whether you're living in Portsmouth or any city throughout Hampton Roads. All right, so our next con of living in Portsmouth, Virginia is actually something that's been discussed quite often in the news recently, and that would be the overall real estate property tax. Because quite honestly, the prices are ridiculous compared to some of the other cities in Hampton Roads, and Portsmouth has the highest real estate property tax in all of Hampton Roads. And what real estate property tax is the tax you pay on any houses you may own, and it's usually assessed per $100 of value. For Portsmouth, Virginia, that equates to $1.30 per $100 of assessed value. So if you have a $300,000 house, you're looking at about $3,900 a year in real estate tax. As far as some of the other cities in Hampton Roads, to give you an idea how Portsmouth stacks up, Norfolk, Virginia, $1.25. Then we get into some of the lower ones. Suffolk, $1.09. Chesapeake, $1.05. And then Virginia Beach is the lowest in the area at 99 cents per $100 of assessed value. Taxes are really important, as that's how the city pays for the roads and infrastructure throughout the city. However, in the city of Portsmouth, Virginia, you're going to pay a lot more for those property taxes than you would in any other city in Hampton Roads. As we talk about the housing cost and the real estate tax, you might be wondering to yourself, what is it actually going to cost in the city of Portsmouth, Virginia? Well, if so, take a look at the video I did right here. I go over some of the other cost of living in Portsmouth, Virginia, and you can compare it to some of the other cities in Hampton Roads. And I hope you got value out of this video. If you have any questions, my information is right down below me. And until the next time, I hope you have a great day, and I will see you on the next video.